What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at Shadow Gambit's DLC. Shadow Gambit is a game that launched a few months ago that focuses on stealth strategy and is from Me Games, the people behind Blades of the Shogun and Desperados 3. You may or may not remember that after Shadow Gambit launched, the studio put out a note saying that they were hanging up their hats in game development and winding the company down. Now, this was not due to financial reasons. In fact, they're paying all their employees bonuses, trying to hook them up with other jobs, etc. This just seems to be a case of the owners looking to do something else after 15 years in the game development world. But before they did all that, they wanted to update Shadow Gambit with a bit of DLC. Two, in fact, both of which launched on December 6th, though it took me a little while to cover these. Now, that said, the studio, Me Games, did in fact send me copies for this DLC, but because it launched on the 6th, which was the embargo date for Rogue Trader, it took me a little while to get to them. Alongside the DLC, they also dropped a free content update. So I want to talk about that first. The free content update allows you to go back to the islands that make up the mission areas of the main game, and this time you'll be able to take on missions called treasure hunts, where you, of course, hunt down treasure, but what these modes actually allow you to do is free roam the islands without having to worry about the constraints of story missions that require you to complete certain objectives. These treasure hunts allow you to approach the islands how you please, making the most of the pretty impressive stealth strategy combat that they had in the base game. From there, though, let's move on to the two DLC, Yuki's Wish and Zagan's Ritual, both of which bring a new character to our roster alongside a new island and a few missions. Now, those familiar with Blades of the Shogun might recognize Yuki because she is a character from those games, and she'll be joining our cursed pirate crew. She is after something that can grant wishes, and would like our help, and the Red Marley's help, of course, in tracking that down. Alongside a new island and, of course, new environments, etc., Yuki is also a very impressive character to actually play as, because she gets a variety of abilities that are really fantastic. She has the standard melee attack, but it is a bit slow, but two of her other abilities, I would say, are the real showstoppers. For starters, she can set up a tripwire that when enemies walk through it will instantly kill them, and while she can only have one of these up at a time, she can set them and walk away from them, which makes it really easy for her to set up traps for patrolling enemies and also lure enemies into these traps as well. Plus, the cooldown is very short, which means you can set these things pretty quickly. And that, combined with her pet tanuki, Kuma, who can serve as a distraction, you have exactly the tool you need to lure enemies into those traps. So if nothing else, her DLC, Yuki's Wish, brings with it a character that is incredibly good to play. The island that comes along with her DLC is themed after the Japanese Edo period, so that's pretty cool as well. Though not all of her 6 story missions will take place on that island, some of them are on the older islands. Now, without spoilers, that's pretty much what to know there. Which brings us to the second DLC, Zagan's Ritual. In a somewhat similar, I would say, structure to Yuki's Wish, Zagan's Ritual brings with it a new companion, of course, Zagan, who is a fallen member of the Inquisition. More specifically, he used to be a prognosticar, which, for those who don't remember the base game, are enemies that are very difficult to kill, thanks to the magical powers of the Inquisition. Zagan has been corrupted a little bit, but his powers are still very much so intact, so now you'll be able to use some of the abilities of those enemies for yourself. He has abilities that work by controlling the enemy, but at the cost of your own health, and then other abilities that will then restore that health afterwards. And while I'll be honest, I didn't really like his playstyle very much, I did think he was a pretty cool addition. Now, Zagan's story centers around uncovering the dark secrets of the Inquisition, namely some, I would say, pressing questions for people who may have played the main plot, of course, and his new island is a haunted mansion where he would carry out his experiments on his undead servants, all in the pursuit of knowledge, of course. Now, without just outright spoiling things, that's pretty much what to know about these DLCs. So, as some general thoughts here, I like the content. I think the new story missions alongside new places to explore with new characters to use even is great. Now, my one hang-up for these DLCs really is their price, as each one of them individually is $15. And to put that in perspective, the base game, which is on a 20% off sale right now for the holidays, is just $30. So these two DLCs cost as much as the actual game does. So for me, while I do like these DLCs, I think the price is a little high. I think $10 is probably as much as I would have been willing to go, with like 7 or 8 I think being more realistic. Which sucks because these DLCs are fun. I think they add interesting things to the game, but the price just doesn't quite make sense, I'm afraid. That said, Shadow Gambit itself is a great game. It's certainly a high note for the studio to go out on, but with all of that information, I think most people are probably going to wait for this game and its DLCs to all be on sale if they haven't played it already. But if you don't mind that price tag, these are a great addition to the game otherwise. But that is pretty much going to do it for this video. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. I do usually try to cover DLCs for games that launch after I review them, but that is going to do it for today. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Though regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.